discussion on the in the year the year review. Please, if you can, you help me with the sharing screen of where we got to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were talking about estate management, as I recall.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Farm. Yeah. Estate management. Okay. But can you go up a bit? No. I mean, yeah.
This
Yes.
way?
Yeah. Number online something. Okay. No. It's about online investment. Which number? Okay.
Oh, online trading?
Online investment. Online investment. What is the most important thing? Yeah, online investment. I think I spoke about online investment somewhere. Okay, yes, under this place. That's number 1C.
Yes.
Online. Yes. Yeah. When I came here today, I saw an email from my wife. You know, I told you about investment that went bad.
Yes.
Part of her entitlement, gratuity from her 27 years of teaching, she invested in a farm investment, but it went bad. But today, I saw an email correspondence between her and that farm investment. They were appealing and begging that the investor should be patient with them, that they are going to refund their money. So we are trusting God that that money will be refunded.
Good.
My wife wrote them a nice, nasty letter that they should just refund her money on time, and gave them deadline, January 2022, they should refund the money. So we are trusting God that they will keep to that, so that she can use the money otherwise.
Good.
That's the contest in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Yes, I think we can go now to the next number down. I think yes, we should be of the. I think we are on number 2. I think so. Yeah. Number 2 there.
Yeah.
Yes, of the lesson you learned, what contributes most to generating revenue? Yeah. Like I wrote there, goodwill and family contribution. Why I said that is that during the year, the guest house got low patronage, but our family made use of the place and invested to upgrade the facility there.
Okay.
So encouraging. the investment during burial of one of our relation, and also during the marriage, were so encouraging. So we thank God for that.
Good. So that would be more of a one-time investment then?
Yeah, it's one-time investment.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that. And maybe I should marry that with this trip to Jos. I'm happy to come and teach here. Like we shared, though the institute don't have the fund, but goodwill friends supported me to get the ticket here. So far now, as maybe you notice on GIS, out of 124,000 Nigeria money, Naira, we had 116,000 contributed by friends. And that's so encouraging.
Yeah, it is encouraging.
So encouraging. So we pray that the Lord will continue to encourage those friends. Immediately, I've updated them, such friends, with the update with my travel reports and what we have been doing. Then, number two, estate management. That one it seemed to me that God may want us to pay more attention to it as a form of secondary means of revenue.
Okay.
Because right up till today, I'm still in contact with interested tenants. However, my prayer is that next year, if we can progress into real estate development, that will be more breaking through financially. So, but meanwhile, we thank God for managing property for friends and relations, and which is yielding some revenue for me too. So I thank God for that.
Good.
Then online trading, I'm not so good in that. So I committed some funds. My son is good in that, online. So after the wedding, the bride price they gave and added some money, I just gave my first son to invest in online. So when the time arrives, we'll give it to her and her husband to keep building it up.
Good.
So there's online trading. Then did you explore Fiverr that I mentioned to you?
I did not look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I will check that out though. I'll make myself that note.
Yeah. Fiverr. Okay, exploring Fiverr. So that's another kind of online trading. Yeah. So so that's that. Then number three, of the lesson you learned, what was the most challenging to your way of working? That is change in perception, changes in, one, not all prospective clients are genuine. Tension between trust and not trusting. Prospective clients, discernment to know who is genuine or spies.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have responded to that.
Yep, we talked about that.
Yeah, that we should be ready to be competitive in the marketplace, and that reminds me to mention about building trust. Okay, did we narrate to you what happened? We advertised to recruit a tutor, a home tutor. Did I mention that?
Not the tutor. You mentioned
Yeah.
looking for employees to manage the guest house.
Oh, no, but okay, this is a different scenario.
Okay.
Professor Folayan, my in-law, he was looking for a tutor to teach her 3 daughters that came back to Nigeria in Yoruba language. Yes. He is a professor in Yoruba, but I think for familiarity, he wanted to recruit a tutor. So I helped him to advertise on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and many people applied.
Mm-hmm.
However, we invited a few of them for interview, and the first day, none turned up.
Wow.
The next day, following up online, phoning one of the candidates that he was interested in. By then, I was on my way traveling to Ibadan and coming to. Now he reported to me that this candidate came, but when the candidate entered the premise, our guest house, he was received by the assistant that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and took permission to just go and buy something outside, and from there escaped and ran away. The person didn't come back.
Wow.
Now, my brother now phoned. What happened? You didn't come back. Then this candidate expressed insecurity because of the prevailing insecurity in the country. That he is no longer interested in the job. That we know. So then we discerned that the person felt insecure. However, we thought that he could have done better by either calling my attention, either by asking people around in the neighborhood. Even this was a subject discussion yesterday class with my students here. That how different could this candidate behaved in the midst of it? Yes, we recognize that there is insecurity in the country, but should that make a prospective candidate miss job opportunity? So I later interacted with her, with the candidate, and told her that we are genuine. We are not lying to you. We are sincere. You are equivalent of our children. We don't mean harm. We wanted to recruit you. So, but just about 2 days now, I don't know, maybe that incident got to the awareness of Facebook. And Facebook wrote me that they noticed on unhealthy advert for job that I did, or they said whether it violated the policy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the violation?
No, and I'm going to reply them. They said I should reply them before 26th November. I'm going to reply them because this is a sincere, innocent, using the platform to recruit a worker. But I wonder how, because before that time, more than 30-something people, more than 36 people have already applied, seeking job. But we said, okay, let's start with 6 selected people because not all of them are qualified, not all of them are relevant to the advert requirements. So we screened them, we picked only few. And then for Facebook to now send me that message, I will reply them.
Did they identify what policy you?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't really mention so part of my inquiry will be what aspect of the policy? Huh?
Yes, that would be important. Let's stand up for a moment.
Yes.
The challenge that is international, particularly when recruiting for positions that work in homes or families, the challenge is to differentiate yourself from those who abuse that. And so this encounter with Facebook is going to be important to talk about because there's so much recruitment that ends up in sexual slavery. People are pretty touchy about how recruitment is done, particularly where women are concerned. And so to have a clear process and to be clear about what the job is, which it sounds like you've done, is really important. One thing that when I'm recruiting people for jobs, when I'm hired to do that previously, I had a whole process that I went through to screen potential candidates. And one of the first things that I did was when I received a resume or an application, I would call that candidate on the phone. And what I wanted to know was, is this person comfortable talking to strangers? Because I was usually hiring for positions that had to interact with the public. And so could they hold a conversation? Were they conversant in their vocabulary and their sentence structure? Because oftentimes a resume can be doctored to look really good, but not really reflect the person. The second part I would do is I would ask them a question in email that was related to the job and ask them to reply or to set up sometimes to set up the phone appointment. And what I was looking for there was, how did they communicate in email? Did they use, and with the younger generation here, there's a lot of emojis and abbreviations and slang that in the business world just isn't helpful. And so I would look for, can they communicate in writing effectively? If they didn't communicate in writing effectively, if they didn't communicate over the phone effectively, then I generally didn't pursue them. Those who did, then we went to the next stage and I would do a phone interview. And in that phone interview, I would ask them key points on the job and assess whether or not they sounded like they were competent. And only then would I get to a personal interview. So I could screen out a lot of people. Plus, by the time I got to the personal interview, I'd already talked to the candidate a couple of times, and there was a level or a degree of confidence. They were still nervous. I could tell they were nervous about the job interview, but I found that helpful because I got so many resumes. Some of them were they were resumes from essentially an algorithm, and they weren't applying for my job. They were just sending out resumes, and I ignored those. But if I found resumes that were applied for the job that I wanted, how do you filter all those people and get the best candidate? So I put those preliminary screening things in place: the email, the response, the phone call, then a phone interview, and then a personal interview. And so those first three, the email, the phone response, the phone interview, I really determined then whether the person was qualified and to take time for a personal interview, and whether the person was really interested. Because the other thing that happens here in the United States, I would get a lot of people who are applying for the job only because they're required to apply for jobs to keep their unemployment benefits, but they weren't interested in working. They were just interested in sending out resumes to keep their unemployment. And so those I could eliminate pretty quickly, right? They just got in the way of good candidates. In today's world, I would be even more sensitive to how the advertisement on Facebook was written, explaining what they were going to do. Like I say, the whole thing of sexual slavery around the globe and the recruitment of women, that is the classic. They're recruited for a job, but they get there and discover that's not the job, and they're carted off somewhere around the globe they didn't expect to go, and lost then. So be aware of that reality, and in your response to Facebook, I'm sure you'll give them all the background of who you are and what you're doing, the solid of it. But I'd also want to know what policy specifically, to just say you violated policy is not a good enough explanation on Facebook's part. They need to be more specific on that.
Okay. So I can see with your input that apart from national insecurity, that even there is also global insecurity.
Yes.
So I think I appreciate that complementary information, because I thought that maybe the insecurity is just the local Nigeria problem, which is peculiar to the candidate in himself. But your contribution is really very informative. That will contribute to my reply to Facebook. So I really appreciate that. Yes, so, and with that, let me see, then good will loan from a friend not yet refunded. Okay, that's another thing which we are learning lesson that to avoid soft loan completely. There's something, I know that in your context, it may be different, that one can easily access loans, but here, it's not so easy to access loan, except you are a very big investor and you have the money. So the experience of this 1 year has put us on tour about even soft loan from people. I don't know what you have to say about that. And
so this is a loan that someone gave you.
Yes.
And okay, and you're
without interest.
Without interest, and repayment you weren't able to repay it in the time frame?
Yes.
Okay.
What happened is, you see, the pavilion where we want to be letting out for events. We have to do some brickwork around the canopy,
Mm-hmm.
and we that last year around this time, I just called one of my secondary school mates, and without hesitation, he gave the loan. But even he didn't specify the time to return the money. But personally, I would have loved to give it back before now.
Mm-hmm.
But the expectation was that with the face lifting of the event center will encourage patronage, which was not the case.
Okay.
That's the situation.
And so how's your relationship with your friend now? Are you still talking together about it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We are still in good term.
Okay.
However, when you have not repaid loan, you feel you are not so free, and which I'm trying to, even if I just get some money, part of it, just pay off, and then for integrity, I'm more concerned about integrity
Yes.
in that wise.
So it can be a challenging subject. I don't know that I would avoid such loans altogether in the future. But what I would do is to agree on the specifics of repayment and agree on the specifics of the expectation. So, for example, your friend gave you the loan, the uplift for the tent, in the assumption that additional patronage would pay off the loan. Now that patronage didn't happen within the time frame expected. So now it's easy to go back and say, we didn't see the uptick this year that we expected, and so I'm not able to repay the whole amount. There should be, as part of your agreement, what the repayment would look like, right? So is it going to be a balloon repayment, which means I have my first customer in and I repay the whole loan from the profit of that? Is it a time payment, like I'm going to repay it within 36 months at X amount per month? Is there a contingency for if I can't make the payment, what will happen? It's helpful to spell all of those things out, even with close friends. Because what can happen, as you're already feeling, there's an awkwardness if I can't meet that obligation. And that's where soft loans go bad. They end up damaging the relationship. And so as long as you stay in communication with your friend, and if you need to, just set up even a minimal repayment amount so that there is action toward repaying the loan. For example, just to pick a number out of the air, if I had $1,000 loan to do something and I'm not getting it in, then can I afford to send $10 a month until I see the uptick in business? And I would talk with my friend and say, look, this didn't go as planned, but I'm going to start repaying at $10 a month is what I can afford. I know it's not much, but I'm just going to be sending that in. And if you'd like me to put it directly into your bank account, then I'm happy to do that. And so, just talk with your friend back and forth. If he says, no, that's okay, we'll just extend it, then thank him and ask him what period of time he'd like to extend. So again, it's defined. And then keep communicating with him about what's going on. The reason these things go south is that the loan the person receiving the loan feels awkward, and so they stop talking. And so now the person who gave the loan starts going, they're not telling me anything. Now I'm nervous. And so it just kind of escalates. So keep the communication going, be frank, be honest with your friend about what's going on. Ask him to be honest and frank back. If he says, no, I want you to repay the whole thing next week, then you say, okay, let me see how I can possibly do that, and I will be in touch with you about that. So you just want it to be clear in communication.
Yeah.
The other thing, particularly for anything that has to do with business, is when you're making a loan or receiving a loan in business, is to be clear about the risk. So a loan like that is essentially what we would call it here in the United States is a junk bond, right? I'm going to invest in this business, or I'm going to invest in my friend's opportunity, and I hope to get a return. In this case, I'm going to loan with no interest. I hope to get it all back. Then I have to be honest if I'm receiving the loan, saying, there is a risk to this, and the risk is that this doesn't work, and I'm going to have to set up some other way to pay you back. So you just keep communication going, and that helps eliminate the problem of this. So, in anything that has to do with business expansion or business development, I put plans together. I show people the plans. I say, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to do. These are the activities I'm going to do to make this work. Here's what I'm hoping will happen. Here's the worst case scenario. And so how do you want to handle the risk that's involved in this? And most of the time, the people that I've worked with are people who they don't want to lose the money, but they can lose the money and be okay. Will tell me that they're okay with the risk and they're willing to go with it or not. And so I've only had one experience where I lost a friend because of a gift. And that was not directly as a result of my action, but it was a third party got involved, and it just turned into a nightmare. My friend wouldn't talk to me for months, actually years. And finally we got together and were able to talk about what happened. And so that helped resolve the friendship. But it also closed the door on any other gifts coming from him. He simply won't ever do that again. And at this point, I would never ask him again, just because it was such a trust-breaking event. So I know those get really painful, but communication is essential. So keep the communication going. That's my point.
Thank you. Very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. It is very helpful. It is very helpful. I will. Then keep learning and self-development in IT. That is still ongoing.
Okay.
My second son is very helpful in that. Really learning. Like the background that I show, that's part of learning.
Yes.
IT.
San Francisco, here we come.
I saw it on Sunday. There was a Zoom meeting with one of the sons of my in-law who is based in US. And I saw that the background changed from the home setting. Okay. And then I look at the Zoom, I saw that, okay, one can pick the background and change the background. And
nice.
So I tried it, and it's good. So that's good. So the IT learning is still ongoing, but like you said, I keep mindful. I may not be able to cope with the age, but I should be knowledgeable enough to know what I need.
Yes.
What I need.
Good.
So number 4, what is the most important thing you learn about your marketplace? Personality connection, very important. That's one thing I found out, connection. So
Good.
So then next is trust building, very essential. So even today, as I came to Jos, that's about, what I just do, building trust, promoting trust, enhancing trust, improving trust. So I will work more on that. Then younger marketers and staff perform better. That's looking to 2022 to get younger people. Interestingly, that's a testimony to just last week before I started coming, a young person that saw the grace of God in our lives called that he would want to come back again. He was our first employee for our Joyous Innovation.
Cool.
Yeah. So he just worked. He worked with us just briefly, and brought in his junior brother, who stayed longer working with us. Now, after about 3 years or so, last week he came back that he want to work with us more as a way of mentoring in ministry and in life, in his business. So right now he is with us and is assisting us. And somehow, with all that we are doing together, we believe that God will help us to mentor him. And that inform maybe what I will also want you to know about, that next year we are considering to be human resource agent for organization and for individuals. We find out that people are there are unemployed young people, youths around us. Because some of them, they are dropouts, they don't have specific skill, and they really don't have, some of them need some critical thinking. So we felt that there are those who are looking for, even also another thing is that people look to us to help them recruit young people. For example, they communicated my wife. There is an old woman in Osogbo where we are living. So they communicated us that we should get a candidate as a carer for this old woman. So thank God we succeeded to get someone who happened to be a graduate, and they are happy to have that candidate. So we thought that if this request, like property management, if requests for workers are coming to us, why don't we develop it, get the unemployed around and prepare them for prospective job with certificated training in essentially life skill, life skill. So that we also, with our relationship with prospective either employers, we can link them together. So that's one thing we are planning. We've discussed, my wife, we have discussed that we may have to look into that more formally,
Sure.
Yeah.
So how would, do you think there's a strong enough market for that employers would pay for that?
Yeah, that's what, because right now with our experience, we need to, my question will be, how do you do market survey of that? How can one?
I think, because you've already been approached by some people, you can ask them how much they value that, what they would pay for that kind of service to bring competent employees in.
Okay.
You can also go to people you don't even know, companies you don't know, and meet with the owner or meet with whoever hires and say, this is the kind of service that we would provide. Is this something that you would be willing to pay for to get competent employees and reduce your cost? It's called onboarding, right? Hiring and onboarding. So in order to hire someone, I have to go looking, I have to wade through interviews, I have to do all that. That's a cost. And then once I hire somebody, I have to onboard them, which means I have to train them for the job. I have to, provide, take the time to make sure they're doing the job well, make sure that they're a fit within the company. All of that is a cost. And so anything that reduces that cost becomes a benefit to the employer. So if I can bring the right candidates in, I've reduced the cost of recruitment. And because they're effective and capable candidates, I've reduced the cost of onboarding. And so the difference in cost, right, becomes what you're going to pay me and still come away with less expense than you would if you did it yourself. And so you just talk to people and ask them if that's something they're interested in. And if they say they would be interested in, then that's when you start actually closing the deal, right? Well, when will you be looking for employees? And how many employees will you be looking for? And would you like to sign a contract with us now to look for those employees? And here's how much that would cost you, either in a full upfront or to pay over a period of time in order to get the right employees, and however your model is going to work financially. For the employees that you're recruiting, I would also, they're most likely going to be unemployed, and so they're not going to have a lot of money, but I would have them pay some nominal fee as well in order to be trained to find a job. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something that would make it impossible, but it has to be something enough that says that person is going to find value in this training and they're not just going to come and then drop away. And so whether it is a cash payment or and now I don't know how Nigerian law works in employment law, so I'm just going to throw ideas out and you have to do it by, whatever Nigerian law.
Yeah, it may also be in kind, cash payment or in service.
Good. So if that's a possibility, then there's a way to do it that is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. So this discussion today, still I find it difficult to open the link you are sending.
That's odd. Okay. What does it not go to the YouTube video? Tell me what it's doing.
It's telling me that it's private. I cannot open.
Okay, I'll go in and change that setting. That is a specific setting in LinkedIn or in YouTube. I'll change that setting and then I'll let you know that I've changed it. And I'll send you a new link. And we'll try it again. Oh, did I lose you? I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh, are you back?
Oh.
I lost you there for a minute. Hello? Hello?
Sorry. That's my wife trying to call. So it interferes with the network.
Okay. So I'll go in and change that setting and send you a new link and we'll try it again.
I think, yeah. I really appreciate the discussion. Sharing the screen, where are we?
Let me open it back up.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, younger marketers, I was talking about the young person. So he is still with us.
Mm-hmm.
His symbiotic relationship is useful for us, and we will also be beneficial to him.
Excellent.
Yeah. Then I should emphasize on engaging with online services. That's what we are trying to do. And I think maybe the younger generation can be very helpful for us in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then this Zoom meeting, like I'm having with you, I hope next year, even this time around, being in just with the missionaries, if it's not out of place, maybe I will be happy if you maybe just greet and say hello to my students. Yes, tomorrow I've already slated 9 a.m. Because what I'm trying to do is, as I'm teaching them, I put it on Zoom link.
Okay.
Even for other participants. So I will send you this Zoom link. If you are available, you can say hello to us in the class. And that will be very, very adding value. And I know they will be happy even to get that compliment from you.
Yes, send me the link and I'll look and see if I'm free at that time. And if I am, I'm happy to join on and say hi.
Yes, I will send the link. So subsequently next year, I may want to frequent more on these online mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
I benefit a lot even just discussing with you, and I believe that I can extend the same to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lord helping us. So that will come up next year more and more, in
Good.
addition to our webinar. I think hey, we are in number 5.
Yes.
Yeah. In the light of 4, how did you respond to that insight? Okay, invest more time and resources on people. I invested more on IT training and development.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to scroll down to number
Then we're at number 6.
yeah. I can't, unless you scroll down, I can't see it yet.
Can you see it now?
No,
You can't see number 6?
no, you have to scroll down.
Okay, I'll wait for the screen to catch up.
Yeah. Okay, better. What do you need to learn to be most effective in the coming year? Where will you go to get that knowledge? Okay, have recruiting, training, and investing on younger staff, youth core staff. So we will do that. I wrote, it's just similar to what I shared, that we will focus on recruiting younger people, then build team of online staff, especially for the Institute with Ray Wheeler. So by the grace of God, that's one we will do that more next year, to motivate candidates online.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, because of my privileged office in the time past, I have this network of friends from different countries who can give some services to build up manpower. Then IT awareness and development online. Okay. Then when you picture success in the coming year, what does it look like? Okay, become estate developer. I've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
that. Then run youth core staff, both for Joyous Innovation and other organizations. We have discussed that. Then reap dividend from cryptocurrency,
Mm-hmm.
monthly income to increase by the grace of God. Yeah.
Good.
Then number 8, what was the most important thing you learned about yourself in the last year? How will this affect your action in the coming year? I should be more intentional, committed to building friends, relevant to my business,
Mm-hmm.
discipline, ritual commitment to time management. Yeah. Then choice and focused on specific IT area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then 9, what was the most important thing you learned about your supporters in the last year? How will this affect your action in the coming year? Yeah, our supporter expected us to be more convincing and expressive about our program, projects, and plans. So I will leverage on my friend, my younger brother, that's Timothy, who helps to put the newsletter together, to update our supporter with information and newsletter.
Good. If I may just comment on that one for a moment. I was hired to mentor a young guy who had started a nonprofit. He was the CEO of the nonprofit. He was struggling how to lead and where to go. At that point, they were making about $900,000 a year US was their budget. And they were operating in 2 countries. He didn't know how to lead an organization well. He didn't know how to run a staff. And so I was working with him on those skills. And he told me that he had met a businessman in LA who was also coaching him, and I encouraged him to listen to that business guy. He said to me one day, I'm really frustrated. The business guy's giving me a lot of good stuff, but he said he'd introduce me to his friends, to help raise support, and he hasn't done that yet. And he was thinking about dropping the relationship. And I said, no. No, the reason he hasn't introduced you to any of his friends is because he's grooming you so that you are competent sounding when he does introduce you. Because he doesn't want to introduce you and for you to be uncertain about what you're doing or uncertain about how to do it. So when he's ready to introduce you to his friends, it will be because you've developed enough that you're confident in your program, you're confident in your communication, and you sound competent to the people that he's willing to introduce you to. So it was about 18 months later, in a conversation we were having, he said, hey, this business guy is hosting an event for us up in Beverly Hills. That's where he lived, up where all the movie stars live. And I want you to come to it. And so I said, I'd be happy to. And so I drove up to this mansion, Janice and I, in Beverly Hills, and I met this young guy I'd been mentoring, and he got to share his nonprofit program with all kinds of people who had all kinds of money.
Wonderful.
What was important was he sounded convincing. He sounded confident. He sounded like the person that knew how to get where the organization needed to go, and that I'd be happy to support. Their budget went from about 900,000 to 1.5 million annually. And then he made a key hire. He needed to hire another executive. He hired that executive, and they upped to $2 million annually. And the last time I looked at their website, I haven't coached him in a couple of years, but the last time I looked at his website, they were about $3.5 million in annual budget, and are now working globally and have a huge staff. In fact, he stepped down as CEO, and they have a new CEO. He's still in the organization, but he gets to specialize in what he does best. So this idea that you learned, that you learned from your supporters, that you need to be convincing. Another way to say it would be, if you believe in what you're doing, other people will believe in what you're doing. If you don't quite believe in what you're doing, no one else is going to believe it either. And so this is really, really an important insight that you've got. And to express confidence, not arrogance, confidence that you know how to develop people. You can bring professional development to people because you've lived there. You're a professional. You've led a large organization. You know what it takes to do that. You're putting together the right team so that you're bringing the right skills together to be able to present your training institutes or to develop young candidates for jobs. This is something you've done all your life and you can do well. And now you're developing an organization that can do it well. So I rejoice with you in this lesson, and I want to affirm this lesson as being really, really important because it is a gateway to seeing more revenue and more gifts come your way as people support what you're doing.
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much. I believe that that's the way of God guiding and leading us to fulfillment.
Yes.
So I will develop more on that by the grace of God. Number 10, what was the most important thing you learned about God in the last year? How will this affect your actions in the coming year? Witness to God's glory matters. Witness to God's glory matters. That's God says he will not share his glory with any man. So I believe that I'm just a witness. I'm witnessing to what he is doing.
Yes.
I'm just witnessing to what, even to this last trip, I just know that God is encouraging me and I'm witnessing to it. So, and he takes the glory. Then prayers to be prophetic in nature. that all may know that all things come from him. I have associate pastor. It's interesting, during COVID, some project we were able to do just by pronouncement. We will do this. We will do this. And they came to pass. So I
Yes.
believe so that our life should be like that. We will do this. So by the grace of God, I want that my prayer will be more prophetic, listening to God more in prayers. That is the last thing I did when I came here.
Mhm.
That in addition to coming to teach, is opportunity for my personal retreat coming around.
Good.
Interesting. I think you are seeing the environment. I'm here in the room. I'm alone right now in this. It's a very, spacious bedroom, self-contained. So I have all the time after teaching the class to myself and to God. And I believe that God will speak to me and he will prepare me for next year.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Good. Great insights.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time. My wife, maybe she failed to join. I think we will be relaying the discussion to her. This time around, maybe you first send the Zoom recording.
Yes. I didn't put together the last conversation. I'll put this one and I'll put all three that we have now together and make sure that you can get into them and get them off to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Blessings
Thank
to
you.
you.
Okay. So thanks for sparing the time. And I know what it means to really invest in others. I'm so grateful. The Lord
You're
will
welcome.
reward you. The Lord will reward you. Thanks very much.
May
Greetings.
God give you power and grace as you work with those students there. And I pray that the Holy Spirit would show up in a way that is undeniably clear, that leaders that you influence would see the power of God at work in their life, and that you would get to see the glory of God expound even more in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Greetings
Thanks.
to Adenike. I will see you soon.
Yeah, greetings to Janice. Bye.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.